Just 2 days remain before a potential partial government shutdown. Democrats see the approval of funding for the Department of Homeland Security as their leverage point to rein in ICE. But any changes to the funding bill would require it to go back to the House, where time and politics are not on the side of passage. Joining me now by phone to discuss this and more, Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, chairman of the Senate Budget Committee. He is also a member of the Senate Appropriations Committee. Senator Graham, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Tony.
All right, I want to talk about, in just a moment, I want to save some time here because I want to talk about the serious threat to Christians and other religious minorities in northeast Syria. But first, I got to get to the latest on this funding drama on Capitol Hill. Where do we stand?
Well, we had a bipartisan agreement on 6 bills to fund the government, including the Department of Homeland Security. 20% of DHS is ICE and border. The rest of it is FEMA, the Coast Guard, a bunch of things. Because of what's happened in Minnesota, Democrats are now saying we will not support DHS funding. So this 6-bill package is becoming 5. If you have to change it at all, it will go back to the House. The House will not accept leaving DHS out. So what's going to happen is that Democrats have gotten so crazy about sanctuary city policy that they're going to refuse to fund Department of Homeland Security in a way they had previously agreed to, which is a disaster for the Coast Guard, disaster for FEMA, disaster for border security. My belief is that the crazy wing of the Democratic Party is completely taken over, and the deal we had before is going to crumble because Democrats hate Trump more than they love the country.
So where does that leave us?
Either the government shuts down, we do a continuing resolution, or you got to have some Democrats say this is crazy. Maybe they can do some things with Trump to lower the temperature, but if we change the bill at all, it will not go through the House.
Right.
This is previously agreed to.
Right.
They're pulling a fast one on us. I don't know where it goes, but I know this. I cannot support not funding DHS.
Right.
The world is on fire.
Right. I heard some conversations that there might be a short-term extension of Homeland Security in order to come back and do some legislative adjustments as it pertains to ICE's conduct, like making sure there's warrants for arrest, federal agents wearing identification, body cameras, things that, quite frankly, sound pretty reasonable. Yeah,
I hope that will prevail, but that means you got to do a deal with Trump. I just don't know if there's any space. I think that the hatred for Trump and, the insistence on keeping, sanctuary city policy may win out. But that sounds good to me. We'll see. I know this. I think it's very important that we fund the Department of Homeland Security, given the threats we face at home and abroad. As to abroad, northeastern Syria, that's the home of the Kurds, ancestral home in many ways. The Syrian Democratic Forces who defeated ISIS were mostly Kurds working with our military. The idea that we would abandon them and let the new Syrian government run by al-Shira, the former al-Qaeda guy, would destroy American credibility for generations. I don't believe President Trump's going to let that happen. Saudi Arabia is a big supporter of al-Shira, the new Syrian government, a former al-Qaeda guy. I've told them, I'm expecting you to make sure that he does not make a run on the Kurds. They helped us. They fought for us. We need to have their backs. You can't have a one Syrian policy by force of arms. I worry about the Druze. I worry about the Christians. The al-Qaeda wing, the al-Qaeda movement wants to destroy everything that's not their view of God. Christians, Druze, other Muslims.
So here's my question, Senator. When you look at al-Sharia, the new president of Syria, first off, the infrastructure there is just almost non-existent. He's having difficulty managing what he has. Why is he moving up to northeast Syria, driving out the the self-governing region that's been doing quite fine, frankly? Why is he wanting to take over that area when he can't even control what he has?
Well, number one, I would like to help the guy control what he's got. Why is he doing that? Well, There's an agenda by Turkey. They hate all things Kurd. The Kurds have been friendly to the United States. All I can say is Erdogan has had a real problem. And to me, it seems like instead of trying to unite Syria, he's enacting a very sectarian agenda. Look
dividing
what
it, further dividing it.
Well, it makes it I don't think there'll ever be one Syria under him. Look what happened in Sweden. So even if he wanted to, he'd have a hard time, but now I'm doubting whether he wants to or not. Why are they expending the energy to go after the Kurds rather than trying to build the country up? Well, it tells me they got an agenda inconsistent with one Syria.
Right. Right. I mean, when you mentioned Sweden, that's down in the southern part. That's where the Druze are.
Where the Druze got just slaughtered.
I'll have to say, you know, I really appreciate the Israelis. You remember when Assad was falling and everything was imploding, even though the Americans didn't really want them to do it, they went and destroyed the munitions that Syria had. Can you imagine now with what we see these trends taking place, that if al-Sharia had all of the arms and munitions that the Syrians had before, and even chemical, biological, possibly?
Yeah. That's a really good point. You got to assume the worst in the Mideast and hope for the best, you know, fight for the best. But, you know, what happened with the Druze is Israel came in and saved them. They got a corridor from Israel into Sweden, which is a Druze community in Syria. There are a lot of Druze in Israel. If it hadn't been for Israel, they would have killed them all.
But again, the United States holding them back, holding the Israelis back from providing that relief.
Yeah, we got to understand that this idea that all these people are going to live together happily is a long way away.
But it's contrary. It's also contrary to the vast amount of history of that region. I mean, this idea of nation-state is a relatively new idea.
It's kind of a fiction after World War I. This is a religious war. You know, the people on radical Islam, Sunni and Shia, want all of us to bend to their will. You got Hezbollah and you got Hamas, you got Iran, you got Al-Qaeda. They're Sunni Shia versions of this, and they all are drunk on their religion. They will kill in the name of God. This is very dangerous, and so I've been talking to President Trump. The worst possible thing for America is for people to come to our aid, help us fight, keep our casualties down, and we abandon them. Biden did it. Obama did it. I am confident Donald Trump won't. To your listeners, pray for our Kurdish allies. They've been great to Israel. They've been great to us. I'm talking to Saudi Arabia. I'm talking to Turkey. We need to hold them accountable if things go bad. So very dicey time for Christians all over the Mideast, for the Druze, for the Kurds. Pray for them. But we got to do more than pray. We got to act.
Right. I just want to make clear for our folks, that listeners and viewers, that the Kurds have been a large part of the military forces that have protected the Christians and the others in that region. So
80%.
It's like all one. They're working together, living together, practicing what religious freedom really looks like. Probably one of the strongest points in that part of the world. 30 seconds left, Senator.
Okay, if you're a Christian and you're in Kurdish area, your church will be fine. If you're a Christian in these other areas, not so much. We need to help the Kurds.
Yeah. Absolutely. I appreciate you speaking up for him, and thanks for coming on today, Senator.
God bless.